Hello. Hello, everyone. Oh, geez, my face. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us again for another week of Go to See My Friends podcast with we got Tobias Maximus over here. Toby. How you doing,
Hi.
Toby? Back from assignment.
Yes, thank you. I was indisposed for the moment. But I'm back,
that's
baby.
Awesome. Yeah, so this week we're going to be shooting the shit about Die Hard, John McTiernan movie. It's a fucking great movie, and it's a Christmas movie. I don't care what everybody else says. You agree, Toby?
It's 100% a Christmas movie. Absolutely.
Abso-fucking-lutely. And so yeah, it's going to be great. What? Let me get some. Took some notes here.
Yeah, let's talk about the details on this one.
So Die Hard was a 1988 film. John McTiernan directed, fresh off of Predator. It's another good one we got to do on the channel. Yeah, he had done Nomads, Predator, and then this is his third movie, I think, that he directed. Came out, let's see, July. Where is it?
Oh, it's a summertime movie, huh?
Yeah, it came out July 20th, 1988. $28 million budget. Returned $143 million return. Not bad. It's a great movie. Stars Bruce Willis as the title character, John McClane, and shot by John DeBont. Do you know who that guy is?
The DP?
Yeah. He did.
No, but he did amazing work on this. He had a lot to deal with. Yeah,
I think J.J. Abrams kind of stole a little bit from him too, because he shoots in the wide amorphic lenses. Sorry.
Okay.
My brain is not working today. And so he has those lens flares, those lens flares.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of his MO, especially when he directed Speed and Twister. You saw a lot of those kind of wide shots too, as well. Just a great DP, and I don't know if he's still making movies. But yeah. And so anyways, Bruce Willis, we got Reginald Del Johnson, and and then we have Dwayne T. Robinson.
Yes.
Paul Gleason,
the great Paul Gleason. May he rest in peace.
Yes, he was a great actor.
He really was.
Yeah, this was the first movie.
Somebody. You're forgetting our man. You're forgetting our man Alan Rickman.
Oh,
this is his This is his film debut. He was a stage actor.
Yes. Why did I not include that in there?
I don't know. It's almost inexcusable, but we're going to let it slide for now.
Well, it's the growth spurts we're having here on the podcast.
That's
right. Alan Rickman as Hans.
As Hans Gruber.
Gruber. Yeah. And then we also have little ants. Well, we'll get to that. Clay Thompson.
Well, we have essentially at the time, and I don't mean to jump in. I know you're going to go over some other details here, but really the only known, there is no big names in this movie. Bonnie Bedelia is maybe
Bedelia. You're right.
Bedelia, excuse me, is probably the most, and I mispronounced her name. To my point, is as far as looking at this cast for an action movie. If you were to look at this cast, I mean, they took a big risk on this cast. They're going, first of all, Bruce Willis is a comedic actor who's doing moonlighting at the time. He's not an action hero.
Right.
Huge risk there. You're thinking this should be Sylvester Stallone. This should be Arnold Schwarzenegger, somebody along those lines as far as a one-man army kind of situation.
They all passed.
And Bruce Willis, who's 5'8", 5'9". I mean, he's an average
I think he's
size.
6'2".
Is he?
6'1".
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't measure him today, so I don't know. They took a big risk with this cast. I mean, this could have really not worked out at all.
Yeah.
But I think, I blew everybody it blew everybody away. Pardon the pun.
Well, I think to your point, Sorry, my brain is just not.
It's okay. We'll be right back.
So when he accepted this role, people thought they had his picture on the poster initially, and people thought it was a comedy, and because they didn't know that this was big action movie, so they took his photo off. And once it became the big hit that it was, they put his photo back on the.
Is that right?
Thing. Yeah, that's what I heard. Urban legend, I suppose.
Okay,
but yeah, I mean, I think, and he also took a $5 million fee for this, which was unheard of at the time. And now you hear, until Jim Carrey took 20, I think. I don't even know what movie that
was. For
was.
what, Batman? The Batman movie he did?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah. So this. I think, well, I don't know. I mean, I think this movie kind of created the whole, there's a number of movies that came out after this, right? That were like, was it Under Siege with Seagal?
Okay, yeah.
So that was Die Hard on a boat.
Yeah,
and then it became
right.
Speed, which was Die Hard on a bus, and
that's right.
kind of created a whole new genre. But let's cut to the quick here. When was the first time you saw this movie?
It would have been on probably HBO.
Yeah.
It would have been later on because it came out 88. I would have been in high school, so I don't think I saw it in the theater of the summer of 88. No, probably not. So whenever it hit the cable, and I saw it at somebody's house or we rented it, something like that. But I remember this being the first time seeing it going, I'm going to be watching this movie every single year.
Oh yeah.
Because it's a Christmas movie. It is 100% a Christmas movie.
Not only is it a Christmas movie, but I think it's a comfort movie. It's one of those movies for me that I kind of can put on and watch and just kind of watch it over and over again. There was a time I think I bought it or I rented it, and 5-day rentals, and I would watch it every night at 10 o'clock. Everybody in my household went to sleep at 10 o'clock. So that was, this is what, I'm 13, 14 years old. Everybody goes to sleep at 10 o'clock. I go out in the living room and I put it on and I watch it. And then when it's done, sometimes I rewind it, watch it again before I went to sleep. So it's a movie that has no kind of lull in it. Like there's no, some expository scene where we need to know some stuff, and it's bam, 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 bam. And so it just flows really well. It's really edited really well. And then I had my cousin come over. Remember Jagar? He would come over sometimes, and he would see me watch this. And it's just one of those comfort movies for me, anyways, that I could kind of put on whenever, and then it would be playing nonstop. And that for me, that's a rarity. I mean, I think Stripes is the only other movie that I had that I could do that, where I could watch it over and over and over again. So, yeah.
That's saying a lot, considering it's like 2 hours and 10 minutes. It's a long action movie, especially at the time when you have this cast of basically most people don't know who. Nobody knows who Alan Rickman is,
right?
But they're just captivated by this. I mean, he's evil. You're bought into this.
Yeah.
He's a sinister mastermind.
Oh, he plays it to the T. I thought
unbelievable.
Yeah, I thought he was this kind of sophisticated European that just came over to Hollywood and made this movie. And, you get to know him or you see interviews with him, and he's just this gentle little dude. And he was very, very, very articulate and very sweet natured. And I don't know, that's the impression I got from him. So to see him in this role,
he's scary.
Yeah, definitely.
He's scary. And I think that because of how intimidating he is in this and how believable he is as this I mean, he's 5 steps ahead of you. We're not sure. Even his own crew in the movie is not 100% sure what the game plan is with Theo. You know, he's Theo's there to, and I know we're jumping ahead, but it's cool. Theo doesn't know what the end game is. He knows that he's there to crack the code and then start drilling into the vault. But he doesn't. He's like, we're going to have a problem when we get to the 7th lock. Right. So even Theo doesn't know that why the 7th lock's not going to be a problem for him, because he knows what the cops and then later on the feds are going to do in this terrorist situation. Well, he knows all this ahead of time.
Well, that plays into this theory that I found. I was doing some internet research.
Good.
And check this out. I'm going to read this to you. It's really short.
Go ahead, shoot.
Okay, so as we know, Gruber's plan was to this is a theory, okay, internet theory. As we know, Gruber's plan was to force all the hostages onto the building's roof and blow it up to make sure the police thought it was a terrorist attack. Even though McClane ends up taking out most of his men, Gruber couldn't have expected that to occur. However, he may have intended to make his getaway with his henchmen anyway. This Redditor suggests that Gruber planned to set off the detonator while his henchmen were still on the roof, ensuring the body count would be higher than the number of hostages. By doing this, it would confirm to the police that terrorists were behind the attack, and they intentionally took their own lives in the explosion. Gruber could then make his getaway with the cash, and no one would be the wiser. So that's hold on, let me get back to now I gotta get back to you. So that's one theory that that kind of gets in there.
I don't disagree 100% with that. He does say something. We watched it last night, of course.
Yeah, me too.
And he says, when it comes time for them to usher everybody up to the rooftop, he says, get everybody up to the rooftop and come right back. He tells the guys. So maybe he tells them to come right back, because at this point he has lost a half a dozen of his crew. Yeah. So now he's like, now we're down to the skeleton crew. I mean, they only have an ambulance to escape in. 11 guys aren't going to escape in this, so that's a good, that Redditor's probably onto something, that some of this crew is expendable. Certainly not Carl and Marco. Those guys were supposed to come along. Carl for sure was supposed to come along. That's like his right-hand man. Right. But Uri was probably expendable. Was it the guard on the ground floor?
Oh, Huey Lewis.
Huey. So you have Huey Lewis. You have Genghis Khan. Who else is in this movie, right? Genghis Khan from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It's a great, and then of course Carl, who was in the Money Pit.
Oh yeah.
Who was the violin? The director?
He was also in Witness. He was one of the Amish in Witness.
That's right. He was in Witness.
He was Kelly McGillis's. He wanted to get with Kelly McGillis, and Harrison Ford.
He's great.
Stepped in. Yeah.
He's great, and he's even more terrifying than Hans is. You're like, this guy. Woo. Sometimes it's the right-hand man that's really the guy who you need to watch out for.
Yeah, yeah. That guy, there's a story about him too, but we'll get to that later.
Okay.
That was, I mean, I found this page, if I could get back to it, I found this page that has 14 theories. One saying that, let's see, one saying, Jesus, sorry.
While you're looking for that, can I just touch on the fact that this is, and I didn't read the book, but this is the book is called Nothing Lasts Forever. It's by Roderick Thorpe. It's a sequel to his book, The Detective, which was made into a movie in the 60s that was a hit. It was one of those where the book comes out in 66 and the movie comes out in 68. And the detective in that is named Joe Leland. He's a New York police retired New York police officer detective, and in Nothing Lasts Forever, he's in Los Angeles to go to his daughter's Christmas party on Christmas Eve at this oil company, a big skyscraper that's an oil company, and his daughter's name is Stephanie Gennaro. And Stephanie Gennaro's co-worker's name is Henry Ellis, who's a sleazeball. So a lot of the people are carried over, you know.
Yeah.
The Gennaro is obviously carried over. It's not his daughter, but it's his wife. And they, you know, the script changed a lot as they were filming it. That's why they, you know, there's so much of like half the movie has the group in it, the group and the terrorists in it, and the other half is John by himself or on the radio with Detective Al or Sergeant Al Powell, and that's what keeps that pace up going. But the terrorists in the book are actually trying to exploit this oil company to show the atrocities that they're conducting around the world. And what's interesting in Die Hard, in the movie, they kind of, when they start talking, here's what we want. We have our friends and comrades in arms, and we want them, you know, the Asian Dawn and the New Provo Front. And it turns out that they don't care about any of these groups. They're there to steal $640 million worth of what, bearer bonds?
Something
Are we
like
back?
That. Yeah.
We're back to bearer bonds again, like in Beverly Hills Cop.
That was the 80s thing.
Yeah. Oh, you had to have bearer. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Speaking of that.
Just make it bearer bonds. Just make it bearer bonds.
Nobody knows what they are. Nobody's going to know. Certainly these 18-year-old kids watching this on repeat aren't going to know what bearer bonds are. I still to this day don't know what a bearer bond is. And I'm assuming it's worth a lot of money. But the bad guy is Anton Gruber. And his brother's name is Carl, or the henchman's name is Carl. So they did. There are Al Powell is the Los Angeles police officer who Joe Leland is on the phone with, and in the end of the book, Carl pops up. They think he's dead. Carl pops up, starts shooting everybody, and Powell, who hasn't fired his weapon since his accident that he had, kills Carl. So there is a lot of, they did stay fairly true to the source material very, very well. And I just think it's interesting that 20th Century Fox was able to kind of subsidize this movie because they were building Fox Plaza at the time. Yeah. It is the Fox Plaza. It's not Nakatomi Plaza. Yeah. It is the Fox Plaza in Century City. It was under construction, and they filmed it in 1986. And they were able to charge themselves rent for the movie. But the whole movie's done at night because they're building it during the day.
Yeah.
And so you have everything's being done at night. There's all that construction that you're seeing on the top floors is real. The guys had to stop working and leave at 5 o'clock, and then the movie guys came in. So the stacks of sheetrock are all real. Yeah. That's all. Yeah. That's not a set. They're going to go in when this movie's done every night. They had to. That's why I said the DP had so much. I mean, you're working. You can't get onto your set until 5 p.m. that night.
Yeah.
To get in there and start lighting and shooting and all that stuff. And then when the sun comes up, you got to get the heck out of there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things could have gone wrong in filming this that it's really impressive that it's pulled off just brilliantly. And you'd think that it was, again, this could have bombed. If this movie bombed, it probably would have bankrupted 20th Century Fox. I'm thinking it had the potential because they're basically subsidizing this building with this movie and vice versa. Right, it's a tax write-off both ways.
Right. Well, to at the beginning of your story there, that the Al Powell, there's even a theory about Al Powell and how he kind of went from New York to LA via Family Matters and Ghostbusters. That ties into the same universe.
No, come on.
And there's also one that says that that John McClane is actually immortal, and so he's the same character as he is in the Fifth Element. And so there's all these crazy theories out there, man. They're fun to read. Definitely fun to read.
Okay.
So when Al Powell says, they say in the theory, this is Al Powell when he says, "Oh, I shot a kid."
Yeah.
You know, he had a gun that looked real enough.
Yeah, yeah.
And I guess there's an episode of Family Matters where he hurts. I don't even know. I've never watched Family Matters.
No, I haven't either. But
that was referring to Urkel in Family Matters, and so he comes out to L.A. to get away from his past, and I don't know. Great,
that's great.
All right, so let's go to some key scenes here, man.
Yeah,
there's a lot of them.
Yes,
and it seems like you could probably just run through the whole movie with the key scenes.
Yeah, it starts out with fists with your toes.
Yes, that guy. That guy is in. He plays the mayor. Have you ever seen The Relic?
Yeah, I've seen The Relic.
Yeah, he was the mayor in The Relic. He's in a lot of the guy that did The Relic. A lot of his movies. I can't. Why is my brain not working today? Anyways, so the beginning, fist with your toes.
Yep.
In the plane. And I think in the extended version, there's an extended version of that scene, which I haven't seen. Have you seen it?
No.
Okay. I haven't seen it either. I guess there's an extended version of this movie that I have never seen. Maybe it's in Blu-ray. I don't know. Who knows? But what's kind of cool about this is that it sets up his attitude. And back in the 80s, I don't know if maybe it was at New York, LA rivalry in terms of sports teams.
Yes.
But I just didn't know that it carried over into normal life. Because he's always like California, you know?
Yeah.
But the thing is that you saw a lot of, especially when he gets picked up by Argyle.
Right.
You already are seeing the setup of how he is with his wife, it's his estranged wife, I guess.
Right.
And by going and getting dropped off, and I mean, even the conversation with Argyle when he's saying like, just drive, dude. Mm-hmm. Oh, come on, man, what's up?
Yeah.
And she got a job out here, and she moved out here, and how come you didn't move with her? Well, I got all this stuff going on. I can't just pick up and go. And he's like, so you just thought that she wasn't going to make it, and you were hoping that she'd come back, and that kind of thing. So by the time they even meet the wife, it's kind of already set up without even them doing anything. You already feel that tension. So
right,
yeah,
you get that he was wrong.
Right. I mean,
he was assuming that it wasn't going to work.
Right.
Argyle sniffs it out in the 20-minute ride from LAX to Century City, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's he's very good. And we get our first we get to hear "Christmas in Hollis" by Run DMC for the first time in our lives. Amazing.
80, 88, 87. I think in 87 it was in Less Than Zero. You ever seen that movie, Less Than Zero?
Oh yeah.
Another one we got to do.
It was in that one too. Special Christmas album too.
What was that?
The first of a very special Christmas. Those compilations that used to come out every year. It was on the first I guess what, disc one?
Yeah, edition. Yeah. Wow, I did not know. I got to write that one down. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, and so that was a good one.
He's all, can we listen to some Christmas music? Say this Christmas music, man.
Okay, so then he gets to the party, and he's kind of the fish out of water. Yep. And you kind of learn that what was his name? Takagi. Got him, flew him out.
Yep.
Obviously didn't get him a place to stay, but flew him out.
That's true.
And then that's when
first class and got him a limo.
Yeah, well, that's true. It's true.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when we meet our, my Clay Thompson Award winner, Ellis.
Oh, nice.
Doing the Pepsi off the desk.
Yeah, man, that's so funny. And there's something that bugs me about Ellis, his choice to do it in Holly's office. By the way, Holly didn't go unnoticed that it's Holly Christmas time.
Yeah, I didn't make that connection.
Yeah. Because Holly, we meet Ellis, and and speaking of Ellis, for those watching on the YouTube, I got my Hans Bubby I'm Your White Knight shirt on today just for the occasion.
Oh boy,
that's a great call for your Klay Thompson. He is a scene stealer. Everything he says is memorable in this movie.
Oh, dude,
show her the watch.
Yeah,
show him the watch. It's a Rolex.
The way he says it too, he's looking right at him, going,
"Oh, he's total 80s."
Show him the watch.
Yeah, show him the watch.
Come on, what are you embarrassed? It's just a little something.
Yeah, he's definitely the guy who would have the what is it, the blue shirt with the white collar, those two-tone kind of shirts. He would be like, just like in suspenders, like very Reaganomics kind of mover and shake. Hey, business is business, yeah.
Well, it's funny too, because the thing I was noticing is when I don't even know I didn't really get the joke that I can't. Is it Takagi?
Yeah, Joe Takagi. He's the CEO. Yeah.
Joke that he says, and Ellis is like,
oh yeah.
And you see Takagi just like, oh, good Lord.
He's like, has to put up with this guy every day, dude. He's like, this guy is probably is our number one earner, but at what? I mean, this God, Ellis just his drug use and his just sexual harassment of everybody that's walking through this place, and
and then
a lot.
And the whole scene, he's
yes. But Holly says something about his character that actually makes a lot of sense. She says, Ellis always gets depressed this time of year.
Oh, when did she say that?
She says that, he's like, well, he's got his eye on you.
Oh,
and she's like,
that part. Yeah.
He always gets depressed this time of year because of, he's alone and that's he's compensating. He's over the top, the drug use. He's thinking, he's trying to convince her to skip out on Christmas Eve with your kids and let's have a mulled wine and some brie and a fireplace.
I
was like, dude, this Christmas, she's 2 kids at home. As soon as this party's over, she's going home to fill the stockings and also her husband's on the way.
Yeah.
No, not coming over to your apartment, dude.
Yeah.
So he's just over the top, and it is probably because he's deep down inside, he is horribly, horribly depressed.
Yeah. Well, then, I think, and then also, I think his role in the company, because when he gets introduced to Hans, this is of international, or maybe he was getting introduced at the beginning. I can't remember, but
I think he's a vice president of something,
of international sales or something like that. So he deals with a lot of probably different types of cultures and stuff. But Ellis, man, what a character!
And the obnoxious business California.
Oh yeah,
I mean he's checking off all the boxes, right?
Oh
yeah, and then he's got the flop sweat when his plan doesn't go right, and he's that
drinking
character is
the Coca-Cola. He's like,
hey, put the gun away. Huh? That's not a method actor.
This is for radio,
not TV.
Yeah,
that's right. So that is a good choice for your Klay Thompson. I also have a Klay We'll get to him we'll get to him later.
Let's see.
You get the fist with the toes.
Oh yeah,
which gets the shoes off. It's important to get the shoes off somehow.
Is there a place I could wash up or clean up
right,
or something? Yeah. So that's what. What does he say? Son of a bitch.
He tries it.
Yeah, and he goes, okay.
Have you ever tried that after you've gone on a long flight somewhere and checked into your hotel room and done fists with the toes?
I think I may have, but I don't remember if I.
Okay, well, I can tell you that I have done it. It does nothing. I think it's just a way to get the shoes off. Maybe it doesn't work on your boy, but I flew back east and whenever I think about it, after I've checked in and I put my stuff down and I take my shoes off, I'll sit on the end of the bed, just like he was sitting there, and I'll just be like, I don't know if you got to do it for an hour, but I was like, this is doing nothing. Okay.
All right, let's go get pizza. This is nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so then after that, what do we got? We got during that whole scene, you get this setup with all the truck coming in, and then it kind of cross cuts with him getting situated in the office party, in the office or whatever.
That's right.
But then they have that little spat. Cross cuts with the little spat that they have.
You get the backstory. Like, we never finished this conversation in July.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and that's pretty realistic too, the way they fight. I mean,
yes.
it's there's no like physical stuff, but it's pretty realistic, or at least you get the tension from that.
And then she's right.
Yeah.
And he blows it. Like, as soon as she leaves the room, he starts hitting his head against the door jamb, and he's like, he just keeps,
he's stubborn.
He keeps making these bad decisions when it comes to Holly.
Yeah. So, and then, then they open up the truck goes down, and then they open up the thing, and Hans in his suit come walking out. Woo!
Yes. All these guys come out of this. They come out of this van. Each guy taller than the next guy.
Yeah.
I think they said the whole, other than Yuri, everybody's over 6 feet tall.
Oh, jeez.
In this group, I mean, they're intimidating. This is an intimidating bunch.
Oh yeah.
It's like here comes the Aryan. I don't know. I mean, they're not.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Yes, they came straight from Berlin.
Yeah. And you can kind of say when the guy is kind of patching into something, they're not speaking English, but you know what he's saying. Hey, slow. Hey, I'm not done yet. And he's like, that whole thing is pretty sweet too. Anyway, so then they take over the thing, and while they're looking for Takagi, naming off all of his attributes and all of his accomplishments, and then you think, oh shit, and he's like, hey, nice to meet you. That was a big thing. I remember when I was a kid, I thought, oh no, what, because I knew it was going to be violent, or I didn't know how violent it was going to be, but I knew there was going to be some, and I thought, but didn't happen. Anyways, so they take him down, and this is where I think John escapes when they're rallying all the people from all the offices, which is kind of cool because when you see the camera angle, you see the guy walking towards where John's office, or the office that John.
He's in the bathroom. He's hiding in the bathroom.
Well, right, but you see when he's peeking out, and you see the guy coming up to the door, and then they get distracted by the office before where the people are in there, right?
Right, and that's when he slips out.
Yeah, and that's when he slips out, and you see by the position of where the guy is that's closest to John McClane, all he has to do is kind of just turn his head like this, and he'll see him. So
movie's over.
Yeah. Roll credits.
That's it.
But then, he just kind of makes his way into the stairwell and
up he goes.
Yeah, dude, that's pretty. I don't know. That's in work with the camera work. It's a pretty cool shot, that whole sequence, because you see how how smart he is and you could tell like throughout the course of the movie too that John McClane, he's a cop, but he's also really street smart, and he knows
for only 11 years on the force. Yeah. You can
tell he was probably from the streets anyways, which anyways, so that's see that, and that leads us to what's the next scene? What does that lead us to?
They take Takagi into the conference room and ask him for the code. Right. And Ellis and Carl have a bet, or not Ellis. Theo and Carl have a bet going if he's going to give him the code or not.
Right.
And he's like, there's no. Takagi says, there's no sense in me giving it to you. They're just, he's like, I don't have it. You'd have to call Tokyo in the morning. They're just going to change it every day anyway. Yeah. And Hans says, well, then there's no use to just give it to me. If it's no use to me, then just give it to me anyway. And he's like, I don't have it. And you believe him. You can tell he probably does not have this code. And And Theo's sitting there on the computer, and he's all like, "I told you." He's talking to Carl. He's like, Theo bet that he wouldn't give the code up, and Carl's bet is that he will.
Yeah, yeah.
And when Theo wins the bet by I'm going to count to 3,
yeah,
and then Hans shoots Takagi. Carl hands him $10.
Yeah, something like that.
He just hands over the $1 and he goes, "I told you," and you see Hans shoots a glance over at him like not now, you guys. Like, are you seriously?
But that scene
right now.
That scene also highlights kind of the humanity that Gruber has, and it shows throughout the film in other ways. But the kind of dichotomy that Hans Gruber kind of lays out with.
He's going to give him a chance to get. Right. He's going to give him. He doesn't want to do. All these people are going to die.
Right.
Their plan is to kill all of them at the end of this anyway.
Right.
You're thinking if you're a hostage, if we play along and give them what they want, maybe they'll let us live. The plan is to blow the roof up with them all on top of that.
That's true.
I mean, that's where this is going.
Oh, okay.
They're going to kill them all one way or the other.
Where I was going was that he didn't want to kill Takagi. He was like, I really don't want to kill, but yeah, you bring up a good point because I didn't think about the end of it that way because they're going to die. Their escape
plan is for them all the whole building to blow up.
Right. Okay.
And then they're going to escape in an ambulance at the end with the cash.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is, every time I watch this, I have to remind myself all this is just posturing. Like if they believe us that we'll actually, this whole, you got a pregnant lady in there.
Yeah.
No, but I'll have a couch brought out to you. That's a nice gesture.
Right.
Instead, he could have just been like, "You're all going to die. I don't care about any of you anyway."
Yeah,
but he's like, "No, we'll bring you a couch, whatever to keep everybody calm, so that we can get you eventually where you need to go for our plan to succeed."
Well, like you said too at the beginning, there's details of this plan that only he and maybe one other person what's the computer guy's name again? I forget. Theo. That maybe Theo knows because Theo was the one that was supposed to drive the ambulance out. So I mean, I think, I think that because he's going on and on and on, and he knows all these things, especially when that last lock, he's like, we're going to have a miracle for that last one. Mm-hmm. You want miracles? I give you the FB. He already knew all that stuff.
He knew that we're going to have the cops come.
Yeah.
And at that point, we're going to have the feds come. And in order for the feds to come, I'm trying to think, what would they, if it wasn't for John, what were they going to do? What were they going to do to get the cops to show up? Because right now the building's on lockdown. There's nobody else in the building besides the Christmas party on 30. They've already killed the security guard. They got security guard at the front. When the cops do show up the first time, they kind of usher them along the way. It's just bad timing. They're going to eventually come. They have rocket launchers.
Yeah, that's what
What were they going to do with these rocket launchers?
I think that had something to do with drawing some sort of attention, because you're making me think now that if John McClane wasn't in this building, what exactly were their plans?
What was the plan?
I would think that maybe they would have a contingency plan for if somebody had a phone or somebody got they had to plan for the police in some aspect, because you can't just plan for a straight getaway and then when the cops show up, you're like, oh shit, what are we going to do? So I think they just had some sort of plan of okay, if the cops come, we're going to do this, A, B, and C, and then they're going to call the FBI. So when they do that, we got to be doing this, this, and this. I think the rocket launchers, from now that I'm thinking about it, were probably going to be something of something to draw the police, maybe.
Or to hit the police with, because the police are going to come and then there's going to be a police standoff. That's not going to cut the power. They need the feds to show up so that the power is cut. So what do you hit the cops with the rocket launcher, and then the feds show up? Was that the plan?
Yeah, probably.
Because the cops aren't going to be able to cut the whole grid 212, right? This Walt down to Nakatomi.
Well, I can do it right here.
Shut it down. Shut it down now.
We can't shut it down. I could shut it down. I could
just call. You can't do it from here.
Yeah, I think it was some sort of because they do it. They shoot up the or they rocket missile the SWAT team.
The RV.
Yeah. So I think that was probably it because
it's got to be right. What else would they have that for?
Everything seems to get like it happens before, not on schedule, but before they were ready.
Because, it's just inconvenient timing. Yeah, because
when the guy's like, and then the thing falls off the car, he's like, leave it. And then they, get the one in there and they set up the rocket launcher. I see him.
I see him.
Yeah. And then they shoot the thing. So they were already getting ready to do all of that stuff. It just happened a little quicker than they thought. But
you see the rocket launcher in the beginning of the movie, like when John is running up the stairs, he goes to 31. He looks in there. He goes to 32. He goes computers here. Yeah. 33. Then he sees those guys wheeling, and it zooms in on it. It's like it's a rocket launcher.
Right.
I mean, we know they have C4 and they've got a bunch of detonators and all that, but then they wheel this like military rocket launcher, and these guys are very well, like he said, they're very well funded. They're you don't bring a rocket launcher and not use it.
Yeah, right.
You're using that thing, and I guess it was to shoot it at the cops. Maybe that was the plan. They just didn't want to do it when they did, and now they've got kind of chaos and screaming and things like that, and they're also losing guys, one by one. John's taking them out one at a time.
Yeah,
like a commando.
John McTiernan got offered to direct Commando, and he turned it down to do.
He should have done it.
I forget what he. Yeah.
Speed? Speed was 90s.
That's Jan DeBont. That's the cinematographer. He directed.
Oh, sorry, that's right.
But I forget. He got offered to do that. It's in the trivia. But all right. So then after they shoot Takagi. What is that? So then what happens? So then John makes that little sound is like
John makes the sound, and he bumps his head on he's under the desk.
Right. Yeah.
He bumps his head on the desk, and they come running out. And, you get that from the trailer. If you get a chance to kill somebody, don't hesitate.
Yeah.
And he shoots him through the desk. Thanks for the advice.
Well, that comes later. That's when that's after he throws the body off for Powell on Powell's car,
okay.
right? Yeah.
Well, so
that's not too far ahead, but that's
right. I mean, these scenes almost could have been in different orders, right?
Yeah.
They would go looking around for him, and they can't find him. They can't find John, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
And then they go back upstairs, and he tells them, Mr. Takagi didn't seem to agree with that, so he won't be joining us for the rest of his life.
For the rest of his life. Yeah.
But that's when John is trying to get a hold of. Oh no, he goes upstairs.
He pulls the fire alarm.
Come on, think. Yeah, and then he pulls that fire alarm, and then
pulls the fire alarm, and I'll kiss your fucking Dalmatian.
And then they turn around, and then he what does he go to the roof? Yeah, he goes to the roof to make that first call. No shit, lady. Do you think I'm trying to order a pizza?
That's right.
And brings that. And another little kind of thing that happens throughout the duration of this movie is: have you ever seen that movie, The Saint, with Val Kilmer?
Oh, sure.
Okay, so in that one, he has the bad guy has his two little thugs, and they're constantly running. And then in this one, you see Carl and his whoever's following him. They're constantly running into an office, running out, running, and it just reminded me of that movie, The Saint.
You like to hustle.
Yeah. You got to hustle, dude. You got to. In this day and age. So then the policeman, now Al Powell, man. Is that his name? Al Powell?
Al, yeah.
And he's getting the Twinkies, and what does the guy say to him? I thought you guys just ate donuts.
That's right. It's for my wife, and she's pregnant. Which is true.
Yeah, it's true.
But they're for him. Let's be honest. Yeah, big time.
Well, that's what the guy keeps saying to him. He's like, "It's for my wife."
Yeah.
She's pregnant. Yeah. But then the guy falls through the window into the car. They start shooting up with that 50mm gun.
Yeah.
That's when
who's driving this car? Stevie Wonder? The internal monologue, well, it's more external monologue, I guess, but he's so relatable in that he's all by himself, and you can't just have him by himself and not saying anything. So he's talking to himself through the movie, and it's not bullshit what he's saying. These are things where, like, he's saying things that are just generally funny. Come out to the coast, and laughs, other than the now I know what a TV dinner feels like, which is, I think Family Guy did a thing where they were where they had gone back in time at one point to the 80s, and Brian or Peter says, now I know what a TV dinner feels like, and Stewie's all, what? He's all, it's from Die Hard. We could write it.
Oh man, I have to see that one. Do you know what episode that is? Because I like to.
No, I don't. It's one where they go back into It's like they go into 1985, so it's like both a combination of both, like Back to the Future, and then they throw out a Die Hard line. I don't know.
So then let's see. All right. So then another key scene. What's it after that? What would it be? The shootout, I guess. Wait.
So the cops come.
Yeah, the cops come. Al gets shot. His car gets shot up. Oh, Dwayne T. Robinson shows up.
That's right.
Yeah, and before that, a little bit before that, though, like Al gets a hold of John, or is it the other way around? John gets a hold of Al.
Yeah, I think John gets a radio from one of the terrorist city offs.
Yeah,
and at that point, he's able to call down to Al. He radios down there, and his contact is Al at that point.
And that's when he kind of deducts, and when he's trying to tell Al.
Well, Al actually contacts to whoever's in there or something like that. I think Al calls into the building. I don't know. Again, watched it a million times and again last night. I don't remember who contacts who first, but
I forget that too. But
Al believes him.
Yeah,
and Dwayne's got a good point. Dwayne Robinson's got a good point where he could be talking to anybody.
Yeah, it could be one of those. Yeah,
he's terrorists. Like, well, what makes you think that he's like? I think he's a badge. He goes, well, gets you that impression, or how would you know that? Just a hunch. Things that he saw,
he said, like being able to display a phony ID.
That's right.
Good.
Jesus Christ, pal! Could be a fucking bartender. Hilarious.
But that's when John is telling him about. They're European. They're financed.
Yes.
They have
by their clothing and their cigarettes
and the cigarettes. Yeah. Because there's this other thing that I read on the internet that said that the type where he figures out when he runs into Bill Clay, aka Hans Gruber, that he gives him the cigarettes that he got, the European cigarettes that are supposedly so harsh, like Marlboro Reds without the filter. Harsh.
They're French Calois cigarettes. My buddy's dad used to smoke them, and they are really brutal. Yes, yeah, they're really brutal.
So when he gives Hans the cigarettes and he doesn't flinch after then he kind of figures out that
is that what tips him off. I was thinking it's just that the accent's pretty good, but that's a pretty distinguishable voice whether you got an accent or not. It's very deep, and I'm like, you can tell this is Hans's voice, especially when you've been on the radio with him for the last couple of hours back and forth. But it is a great the American accent is that was ad-libbed because he was using that accent between shots, and Bruce Willis actually said something along the lines of, "You should be on television with that accent" or something like that. And so they put it in the movie.
Well, yeah, and then that scene was unrehearsed because they wanted the freshness of the actual meeting between these two people.
That's right. It was unrehearsed.
Yeah. And
when he's up on he's like, "What were you doing on the roof, Hans?" He's up there checking the
C4,
the
C4,
make sure the roof is all wired to
plow. Right. And so then he gets that's when Carl meets him and sticks and they have the fight sequence of it's a pretty cool fight sequence, would you say? It's up there with the best of them.
Absolutely. They beat the holy hell out of each other.
Yeah. And very few shots. Even the stunt double looks just like Bruce Willis. So it's not like it takes you out of the fight too. I mean, it's a stunt double. Like you see the different, especially when he wraps the thing around Coral's head and then it goes down the stairs. Like you see that's a stunt double, but it looks just like John McClane. So
yes,
it's like, yeah. So it doesn't really take you out of it or anything. So
not at all. Doesn't take me out of it at all.
So, do you got any scenes you want to talk about?
The feds show up.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Special Agent Johnson and Special Agent Johnson, no relation. The special agent, the older one, played by Robert Davi.
Yeah, Davi.
He's
Davi.
He's a scumbag. But my Clay Thompson Game 6 award goes to the younger. Goes to the younger Special Agent Johnson, because later on when the State Department has cleared all your demands for all your brothers in arms around the world to be released. We've got your helicopters. The demand is the helicopters will meet us on the roof to fly us to LAX, where we will escape, and that's where we're going to let the hostages go. And they're us all, got it. But the feds have a better idea. They're going to come in there, and they get in the helicopters, and on the way there, on the two helicopters that are on their way there, so the younger Johnson turns to the older Johnson and says, what do you think about the breakage? Mm-hmm. And he goes, well, I figure we're going to take out a few of the hostage, or take out the terrorists, and we'll lose 20-25%. Yeah, I can live with that. So they're just going to open fire on the roof. There's they're expecting transports. We're going to give them gunships.
Yeah.
And as they're flying there, Robert Davi's Johnson is, he's reliving his days in Vietnam, right? He's just like fucking Saigon, Slick? And Johnson, the younger Johnson, this is one of the funniest lines of the whole movie, and it's the reason why I picked him. He just laughs and says, "I was in junior high, dickhead." It's so good. And a minute later, they're dead. They're they're gone. The helicopters are blown out of the sky. But I just love that. It's so funny. It's a great comeback, because you get the dynamic. These two guys have been working together for some time, and I laugh out loud every time that he's.
Well, after that, when they said, "Look, you cut the power or you lose your job," or whatever he says, and then they do it. And he gets on the phone. He's all, "Hey, this is Special Agent Johnson." No, the other one. Yeah. That's a good pick, dude. That's a really good pick.
Thank you.
And I guess mine was pretty obvious, but I was going to pick Ellis totally.
For sure, you got to pick Ellis.
Yeah. And what we've already said about him is he plays the part so well. Even when he goes into this salesman mode, when he goes, "Look, let's put it in my terms, huh? Mm-hmm. You use a machine gun, I use a fountain pen," and goes into his shtick there. It's just so, and the way Hans is kind of patronizing him, like, "Oh, you figured this out all? This is impressive," or whatever he says, I
don't understand why he. I guess maybe it's the drugs. But why is he's like, we got to get this show on the road?
Yeah.
Why he puts himself in this position in the first place is, I'm like, this guy he just thinks he's smarter than everybody else. Right. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But why he would voluntarily go in there and get on the horn and pretend to be John's, "Hey, John boy." And John's like, "Ellis?" Like, he met him for 5 minutes. And I'm surprised he even remembered the guy's name.
Right. Well, Hans says to John, "Hey, I found somebody that is precious
special friend."
Yeah, and he was like, "Oh, they found my wife." You can see
right,
his face. He's just like, and then he's like, "Ellis." He's like, "Hey, John boy." He's like, "Ellis." So that for him, that's a little switch there because he was like, because when I was watching it last night, I was like, "Oh wow, they're set." He thinks they got his wife finally.
Absolutely,
yeah.
And then he goes out. So when he kills Ellis, he walks out to the group that's screaming. They just watched Ellis get shot, right?
Yeah,
they hear the gunshot and they assume they just watched this guy who's a big personality around the office is no longer with us now. First Takagi and now Ellis. And he goes out there and he screams and he's all, "Tell me where are my detonators? Tell me where they are, or I'll start shooting somebody and maybe I'll get to somebody you do care about."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Go fuck yourself, Alice." Or "Go fuck yourself, Hans."
Yeah. Hans.
That's and they cut to the cops. "Oh, just let him go, man. He just let him die, man. He's all man. Don't you see what's going on here?
Why don't you smell what you're shoveling?"
That's right.
He might as well just pull the trigger himself.
He might as well just pull the trigger himself. All these cuts are so good. Like the pacing of this, it goes like I said, 2 hours, 12 minutes, and it's over, dude. You're just like, it's quick. I didn't even realize it was that long. It feels like an hour and a half movie, but I looked last time. Is it really 2:12? Good Lord.
So So I mean, it's a fun ride. It's really like quick. The edits are great. Even the music, the score is really cool. The font too of Die Hard when it comes up in the beginning, the font of it it's kind of got that ombre kind of from black to like blue and then to white, and it's pretty cool, man. Everything
you got the jingle bells in the background when the title card pops up. You got the. It's got a very it's got an ominous feel to it, especially for, and some Christmas stuff can be kind of ominous, especially like the Christmas Eve stuff. A Christmas Carol is very dark. It's a ghost story, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of got that, three ghosts will, And you guys did Scrooge last week. That is a Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Great episode, by the way. I was so glad you guys did that. Oh, my God. I was like, there's so many. This time next year, we're going to be fighting over, who's going to do Home Alone and who's going to do a Christmas Story. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. So thank you for doing Scrooge, man. I listened to it and you guys knocked it out of the park.
Sweet, dude. Appreciate it. Missed you.
Yes, sir.
Missed you, though. So we did our Klay Thompson.
Yep.
And we did okay. So I guess I don't know. What else? Anything I missed? Anything you want to talk about?
There's a couple things about Alan Rickman, because you can't get enough Alan Rickman. Yes. Alan Rickman hates loud noises. He hated having to pull the trigger on the guns, and so whenever you see him, if you go back and watch this, and I recommend you do before Christmas. It's a week to Christmas today. It's the Wednesday. Today is the 18th. Go back and watch it, and whenever Alan Rickman is firing the weapon, he's eyes blink because it's just so jarring to him. That's an interesting little tidbit. And then at the very last scene when he falls from the building, they surprised him. They said they're going to go on 3, and they actually dropped him on 1. And so the look on his face is not acting at all. They dropped him on 1, and he's that whole.
Yeah, they dropped him like 40 feet too. So
did they onto oh man!
And so, that was they rehearsed it 1, 2, 3, pew, 1, 2, 3, and then exactly.
And then when they rolled, you only get to get away with that as the director and the DP one time. You only get to surprise somebody once. Yeah. And so that was the take that worked, and thank God it did. And that look on his face is so priceless because he's legitimately like,
you see it, and it's a better effect than RoboCop. You ever see RoboCop at the end when the guy falls back? It looks like a puppet. Anyways, different.
Did they surprise that guy too?
No, it's a puppet, and his arms are really long, and his legs are. It just looks really wanky when the guy falls.
Kidding.
Yeah.
Now from the in the exterior shot, you see somebody fall from the building. Yeah. That's an actor falling into one of those big balloon things, right?
Yeah.
It's not because that person looked like they were literally dropped from the 30th floor.
Yeah.
I'm out, dude. I don't know how onto your back 30 floors. No, thank you, dude.
Did you see that? That harkens back to a memory of mine about Sharky's Machine. You ever see Sharky's Machine with Burt Reynolds? It was like a early 80s kind of cop movie that he did.
I don't think I did.
Oh yeah. So he directed it, and it's about, we should probably do it, but it's just about, he's kind of like the rogue cop kind of dude,
okay.
You know, and they're looking for this serial killer, and they find him in this building, and they hunt for him on this building, and they find him. And the final shot is him shooting this dude, and he falls through the window. And I remember at the time there was like a TV special about it, and they were going to film the actual stunt. And it was Dar Robertson, the guy that died during Lethal Weapon.
Oh, wow.
That did all the stunts in Lethal Weapon.
Mm-hmm.
He was the one that did it. And so what he did was he threw himself backwards out this window. I forget what floor it was. It was probably in the 40s, 30s, somewhere around there. But then, he lands on the big air thing,
right. Well, and in Lethal Weapon, they jump from the building, the 10th floor of that building, too.
Right.
This guy's doing a lot of jumping.
Yeah, it's the dude that at the end of Lethal Weapon, when they're getting out of the boiler room, and he shoots the guy, and the guy goes, ah! And he falls, and he hangs himself on the chain or something. And they go, is that him? Is that Joshua? No, that's not him. And then it's right before he starts running. Mel Gibson's running after the guy in the street.
Okay.
Anyways, he did all the stunts on Lethal Weapon too, and he ended up dying, rest his soul, on a relatively easy stunt. Yeah, and it kind of
crazy, man. It's always the little ones that you don't prepare for. Maybe
I guess because he was supposed to just ride a motorcycle and make this turn. But I guess it was in a desert, and I guess he was going too fast, and the motorcycle kind of got away from him, and he hit the ground, and it catapulted him over a cliff. Like a 20-foot cliff, and he landed on some rocks, and it just, that's how he died. And It was a relatively easy stunt that was supposed to happen. But, yeah.
That's too bad, man.
And they changed, yeah.
Well,
what a note to go out on, huh?
I hope that doesn't happen to me.
Yeah, exactly. All those stunts that you do, man. Shit.
I do put my life into my own hands every single day. Just getting out of bed, man.
Yeah. Jesus.
Starts right there.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, I think back on just how I survived it. It's a Christmas miracle.
Oh. Well, you want miracles, dude? I give you the FBI.
The FBI. Yes.
All right, dude. That was Die Hard.
That was Die Hard. We won't tell you the end of the movie. The spoiler.
Yeah, we're not going to spoil it for you. Unless you want to talk about the end of the movie.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful.
That's right. We could.
It ends on such an upbeat, the sun's coming up Christmas morning. And since we know a place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
There's that, Al Powell shoots Carl.
Yes. Yeah.
But
covered in blood.
But then when Argyle comes through with the limo, he goes, wait, he's with me.
He's with me. Right, because now you're like, Al's not going to start.
Al's just like, what?
He's like, well, now I got a head of steam going. Who's next, right?
Who's fucking next?
Like He's like, no, don't shoot this guy who just blasted through the parking garage gate.
Oh shit, yeah.
That's a good, powerful limo, by the way. Not enough is said about limos. He disabled the ambulance with the limo.
Yeah.
Then he crashes through that gate. Whole gate comes flying off. It's a good vehicle.
That's
that's a good American-made vehicle right there.
Gosh darn it. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, we got the boys coming up on Friday. We're gonna have this one up by Friday.
Nice.
And we're gonna have another one up next Friday. Was it 27th?
Cool.
And then we got some special guests coming up on our next one. We're gonna be doing Highlander. Hopefully, you guys could come and watch us and listen to us while we do that. But
you're gonna see my. I have never seen Highlander.
Oh,
so you're gonna get you guys are all gonna like. What did you think? You're gonna have the first time reaction.
I think so. I think
I won't have all the details and then the stats and fun little anecdotes about what happened. I'm just gonna watch it and then I'm gonna enjoy listening to you guys really break it down. And I'm sure that when we're done, I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it. But I've never seen it. I've seen parts of it, but I've never seen it all the way through. So I'm excited. I'll watch it tomorrow.
It's a little over the top and cheesy, but it's good 80s cheese. It's one of those.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Let's do that. But anyways, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see y'all next week. Thanks.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas.